All right, we are live. Now I just have to wait for people to come. Actually, you should say one. All right. I see at least one other person is here. Ooh, 4 people are here. We're starting to get the count pretty high. All right, when you come in, just go ahead and say hello in the chat. There is a little bit of a lag between my end and when you are hearing me, but feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself if you are able to in the chat. Also remember that if you're having any problems, you can feel free to email me at mcael.observations@gmail.com. Hi, Gabriela. Which organization are you from, Gabriela? Okay, great. Are you one of the teachers there? All right. Thank you for coming, Gabriela, and thank you for coming early. We are going to get started at about 7 o'clock. Perfect, the ESL program, perfect. So we are going to get started at about 7 o'clock, but please let me know if you have any questions before we get started. The early bird catches the worm. So you teach early in the morning. I applaud you for that. Oh, okay. Let me see if I got my schedules right. See how well I have it mapped out in my brain. Probably not as well as I should. Oh, ooh, I got it right. All right, so I see we have one more person who just signed on, a couple more people who just signed on. When you sign on, please feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. And we can, we can go ahead and get to know each other a little bit better And also it'll help me be aware of who is here. All right. Is everyone aware of what the chat looks like? Let's see, we've got enough people in here. We should be getting, just go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat when you come in, if you are able. And again, if you are unable or if you have any problems at all, you can always send me an email. It's MCAEL, MCAEL .observations, plural, @gmail.com. All right, getting quite a few people come in now. That's great. Go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. Gabriela and I have just been chatting before the observation gets started. So please feel free to just introduce yourself. So let me show you really quickly. Right beside the video, like right next to the video, you should see a chat window. There we go. Hi, Jose, or Joseph, I'm sorry. Hello, Joseph. All right. So Joseph, where do you said you teach at Casa de Maryland. What days do you teach? Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you for coming, Joseph. We've got Joseph and Gabriela both here, both being that early bird to catch the worm. Thank you guys so much. We have a few other people out there. Again, please don't feel any pressure to use the chat if you are uncomfortable doing so. All right, but we would love to hear from you. All right, Betsy. Hi, Betsy. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so glad to have you all here. All right, so Betsy, if you'd like to introduce yourself, feel free. Go ahead and tell us which program you're with and anything else you'd like to say before we get started. All right. Ana A. Brito Foundation. Fantastic. All right. Thanks, Betsy. I'm glad you were able to make it. I really appreciate you being able to come and taking your Friday evening to spend with us virtually on YouTube. All right. We will start at about 7 sharp. For those of you early birds, I would like to point out that in the description right below the video, you will see a link to a Google Docs page. You can go ahead, I see Gabriela already has. You can click that link and it will have you just sign in with your name and the organization that you work with. And that way we have documentation to show, hey, look at all the wonderful people that came to our webinar. And this is for everyone, whether you participate in the chat or not, please go ahead and use that Google Doc to sign in so we know that you're here. All right, Lourdes, welcome. All right, Lourdes, welcome. We are so glad to have you here. We have another teacher from the Ana Brito Foundation. That's great. Welcome, ladies. Well, I think actually we probably have ladies and gentlemen at this point. That's right. We have Joseph too. All right, perfect. I love it. Getting in some more early birds. Absolutely. Thank you for asking, Betsy. So right beneath the video, you are going to see a description. So it'll say MCAEL Classroom Observation Orientation. You'll see a little red person, little icon of a person, and then it'll say my name next to it, and it'll say subscribe. And then below that, you will see add and share. And then right below that, you're going to see something that says started streaming 17, maybe 18 minutes ago. And there will be a doc in the description, a link. You just click it and type in your information, and then you will be able to submit that. I see we're getting some responses coming in. Perfect. All right, great. We've got, great. Thank you, guys. Just put your name and your organization. That's all we need to know. All right, thank you guys so much. Perfect. Got yours in too, Betsy. Great. All right. You guys are making it easy so far. I appreciate that. All right. See, a few people might have dropped off. Hopefully they make their way back in. All right. That is a good point, Gabriela. Thank you for pointing that out. You are going to need to make sure that you can see about the video. So you'll need to click the About information box. I have that open here automatically, it looks like. Yeah. So some of you may have it open automatically, and some of you may need to actually click it to open it. But that is about it. Once you're able to see it, you should be able to sign in just fine. All right, I see we have Robbie here too. Hi, Robbie. We'll get started in just a couple minutes at 7 o'clock. I'm just going to go ahead and get started at 7 o'clock on the dot. I know some people emailed and said they might come in just a little bit later than that. So we will get started for those who are here, and those who come in a little bit later they'll be able to view a recording of the beginning. All right. Yes, you were. Yep, I have you. Yes, the link does open another window, so you're going to want to make sure that you go ahead and just click the link. If you right-click it and click New Tab, that works. You can also always just come right back in if it does close out on you. All right. For those of you just coming in, we are talking about the link that is just below the video. So you're going to want to make sure you have the ability to see the about portion of this video. You can go ahead and click on the link there. It will take you to a Google Doc, which has sign-in information that you can use to make sure we have a record of you being here. So I see we already have several responses in there. Thank you guys so much for cooperating and signing in so quickly. I really appreciate that. And all of my clocks are saying 7 o'clock. So I will go ahead and get started by welcoming all of you here and officially thanking you so much for being willing to participate in this webinar. This webinar was chosen just because we do have people all across Montgomery County. So it would be, it can be a little hard for everyone to get their schedules to kind of overlap and be able to be in the right place at the right time and have everyone together. So this was the alternative that we came up with to make sure you all have access to the orientation. A few things that I want to mention before we get started. First, once again, for those of you who are just now coming in, please click the link. Hi, Tatiana. Glad you're here. Go ahead and please click the link in the description. That will give you a Google Doc. So make sure you right-click and hit either New Window or New Tab, because there's a possibility that will close you out of this window, okay? And that Google Doc is going to ask you for just two things, nothing more. Your name and your organization. Standard sign-in, okay? So you can go ahead and click that link. All right, the video is frozen. Just give it a second. It should sort itself out. If ever you come across technical problems, if the video freezes, there's a couple things that might be going on. Hi, Sherry. All right, yeah, if you do come across instances of the video freezing, it's most likely it's just going to be an internet connection, and if it really doesn't want to start loading up again, you can just go ahead and close this window, click the link that you have in your emails. Again, it'll open a new window and you'll be able to watch where we are, okay? Wherever we are at that moment. And after this video is over, all right, after this webinar is over, there will be a video that has all of the webinar in it from beginning to end, available on YouTube, okay? And I can also email you this as well, so that you can have a copy of it that you can review. If you do ever have technical issues, those technical issues should not be reflected in the physical recording or in the actual, I guess digital still recording, but the recording should not have the technical hiccups, okay? So Tatiana, is your video better? All right. So there will be a couple instances, I'm going to hope the silences aren't too awkward, but there will be a little bit of a lag between my end, so me speaking into the camera to you, and you actually hearing what I'm saying and seeing it on your screen. There's a little bit of a lag. So just, keep that in mind as we're going through. Okay? All right. So at about 7:05, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the orientation. But for now, I'm going to start with just a really brief introduction. All right. Oh, okay. I just saw your email, Robbie. Hi. Glad you are able to be here. If you can't chat, I mean, it's okay. You can always send me an email. I've got that open on my end too, and I should be able to see everything that you are saying. I'm going to go ahead and sign in on my extra computer as well to make sure I have more points. Make sure there's more ways I can contact you if needed. Okay. So, Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne. Welcome. All right. We're just getting started. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. All right. My name is Margaret Schrager, and I have several hats that I wear. I work with Montgomery College by day, and by evening, or I guess whenever I'm not working with Montgomery College, I've been helping MCAEL coordinate their observations, their classroom observations. All right, good question, Betsy. About an hour. I wouldn't expect it to go too much over an hour. I value your time. I don't want you guys to have to give up your entire Friday evening. As a teacher, I know how hard that can be. In adult education, we tend to lose our Friday evenings, and I want to prevent that as much as possible. So, about an hour is how long this should last. Okay? All right, I see those numbers going up. I love that. For those of you just coming in, please be sure to sign in through the link that you see beneath the video, okay? If you are unable to chat, you can just go ahead and send me an email as well, just so that I can hear from you and let you know any problems, any solutions to the problems that you have, anything like that, okay? All right, so without further ado, it is now 7:07. I'm calling it. Let's go ahead and get started with the PowerPoint. During the PowerPoint, you are not going to see my face. I know, it's devastating, it's so sad, but you will only see the PowerPoint presentation on your screen, okay? And I'm also not going to have the YouTube window open on this account. I am going to have it open so that I can view the chat on a separate computer that I have open next to me. So I'm going to send a message there really quick. And you should have 2 messages from me. That second account is going to allow me to continue chatting with you and continue to answer your questions, even when I have the PowerPoint open full screen on my end, okay? I also have my email open on that second computer, so anytime you guys send me an email, I'll be able to see that as well, and I'll be able to answer the questions that you send me there, okay? So, throughout the orientation, any questions, you can just go ahead and put there, okay? You can just go ahead and put them there. I'm going to go ahead and switch over. Yes, good question. The entire video will be available. And I will make sure to email anyone who wants a copy of the PowerPoint as well. All right? So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the PowerPoint really quick. All right. So you're going to see something that looks a little bit like the Matrix meets Inception. This is because you're going to see my window. You're going to see what I'm seeing on my computer, but it's going to kind of show, well, you can see it now. It's going to show this sort of endless loop. It's brief, I promise. There will be a period of black, although I realize that has already passed. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and open up our presentation. All right. So this is the beginning of our presentation. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce the process a little bit. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint. You're going to see this little red guy moving around. This red guy is just to help me draw your attention to certain points. If I feel like something needs to be highlighted, I may switch it to a highlighter or something like that. But, you know, this is just to sort of supplement to kind of give you, you know, since I can't be there in person, this will sort of supplement our my gestures and all of that. I'm a very gestury person, so this will be my online gesture. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So tell you a little bit about what's to come. We're going to, throughout this orientation, discuss the goals of the program. We are going to discuss the responsibilities of the observer, the teacher, and the administrator. So there are three different people that are going to be involved in these observations. There's going to be the actual observers that we have. There's going to be the teachers whose classes are going to be observed, and then the administrators of the program who will who have very graciously allowed us to come in and see what's going on. All right, we are going to dedicate a lot of time to talking about the actual observation form. Yes, like a laser pointer, Gabriella, exactly like a laser pointer. All right, so we're going to take time to discuss the observation form. We're going to discuss that in detail. I want to make sure that the observers as well as the teachers are very comfortable with this form, so you know everything that's going to happen, okay? We have, I'm going to talk very briefly about the data analysis just kind of throughout the orientation. This is something where, you know, it's just going to be kind of integrated throughout because the data analysis is really our end game, okay? That's why we're doing these. We really want to be able to help you, okay? So there'll be talk about that throughout. I'm going to give you just a few final remarks to let you know, things to keep in mind as we're going through this observation program. And then finally, we will have a Q&A at the end. This is where you can ask any question you like through chat or through email, and I will take some time to answer it. Unfortunately, I do not know the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, but I'll give it a try. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the goals of the program. Our principal goal, the reason that we're doing this, is to acquire data to guide professional development. As you all know, MCAEL offers professional development to instructors throughout Montgomery County. These professional development opportunities are meant to help you grow as instructors and to, you know, as a result, help your students continue to achieve their goals in education. So we really want to know, first and foremost, what topics would our instructors benefit from? The instructors that are in MCAEL programs, what would they benefit from? If we are having a professional development, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and we want to make sure that we're targeting these, okay? We want to make sure that the professional development that we're offering is the professional development that people want and that people actually need. Beyond that, we really want to know what our students are already doing well, okay? Oh, I'm sorry about that. We already want to know what our students are already doing well, okay? And so in order for us to do that, we are going to have to take a look at the classes and to actually see what's going on and what's happening, all right? Because these classes are really the core of MCAEL. They're the core of our program, okay? And we really also think that our professors are doing a really great job, okay? So we really think that our professors are fantastic. I mean, let's be real, they're completely fantastic. We want to also provide an opportunity for collaboration. This is the most important thing that we will be doing in throughout MCAEL's program. So as we are doing these observations, all right, we want to make sure that those observers are taking time after each observation to talk to the teachers, okay? We really want to make sure that in addition to simply sitting in the class and seeing what's going on, we are providing the opportunity for our observers who are experienced educators to talk to the teachers about what's going on in the classroom, okay? And finally, I think this is really important too. We want these to be very unobtrusive, okay? Our observers are going to be like flies on the wall. We really want a low effective filter for the instructor and for the students. Now, low effective filter is one of those very teachery words, okay? Low effective filter, for those who haven't heard it before, which is completely fine, it just refers to like the stress level, the anxiety level in a classroom, usually referring to students, but I think in situations like this, it can refer to the instructor as well. If you're very anxious, if you're very nervous, if you're, not really sure what's going on, you may not be doing, you may not be doing your best teaching, and B, we're not really going to get authentic data, okay? We don't want to make you nervous. That is something we absolutely do not want to do. We want to make sure that you are able to give a class that is as natural as it would be if we were not there, so that we can see all of the great things that you're already doing, okay? So we really want to be unobtrusive. We want to get that authentic data, and we want to make sure that everyone involved is calm and understands the process and is able to move forward, okay? To move forward, getting data that is actually going to be helpful, okay? So any questions, feel free to just type them up in chat. Responsibilities of the observer, okay? See this little fly over here, this cute little fly? Our observers are going to be a little similar to that, although maybe, less insect-like. All right, so we want our observers to be a fly on the wall. This means that while you are in the classroom, you are not actually intervening, okay? Your presence is unnoticed, okay? We really want you to blend in. So this means you're not going to come in, you're not going to necessarily ask questions while the teacher is teaching, you're not going to be speaking while the teacher is speaking, follow the rules of the classroom, make sure your phones are off, just things like that. We also really want to stress this next one, be supportive and positive, okay? I really want to emphasize this one, be supportive and positive. We are not going into the classroom as a way to grade the teacher. That's not what this program is. We are not going into the classroom in order to judge the teacher. We are not going into the classroom in order to say, oh, well, I know my program's doing better than that. No, absolutely not. That is not what we want to be doing. What we want to be doing is creating an environment that makes the teacher comfortable, that helps, provide the teacher with, helps provide the teacher with a really just, like a friend almost. Not necessarily a friend, but a colleague, a mentor, okay? All right. We also want to make sure that you are able to collaborate with the teacher as appropriate. Now, again, this is not during the class. This will be after the class. If during the class you see a situation that that the teacher then asks you for help with, for example, if you see there is one student who simply is not able to keep up with the rest of the class, or if you see that there is one student who is much higher above the rest of the class, and afterward the teacher asks you, in your experience, what would you recommend for this? This is an opportunity then for you to collaborate, for you to say, well, in my experience, it's really great to have a higher level student act as like a teacher's assistant, or in my experience, sometimes a lower level student, needs just a little bit more of the foundation, so they can build on that. So here's some activities that you might try. This is just, again, if you have an experienced educator in the classroom already doing an observation, already paying close attention to what you're doing, why not make it collaborative? Why not use that as an opportunity for just individualized professional development in the moment? You're not going to get more real than that. They've already seen the class in action. So another responsibility of our observer is to be thorough when completing the observation form. A little later, when we go through the observation form, you're going to see that there are several parts to it. Okay, it's a 2-page document. It's not a novel, but there is a lot of information that we want the observer to write down while they are in the classroom. And we want to make sure that all of the questions are answered, and that they're answered, detailed, okay, that you provide details. And that kind of ties into the next one that asks that you provide details and examples on the observation form. We've tried, as we've been reworking this form, to move away from yes or no questions, and to really, kind of push, even in the wording, the idea of providing more information. So even if there is, a question where you feel like the answer is pretty straightforward, I want you to, as you're going through the class, provide examples. And as we go through the observation form, we'll actually, take some time and talk more about that. You are going to discuss the results with the instructor after class. So once the class is completed, and you see that you have all the information you need on your observation form, you're going to take some time, sit down one-on-one with the instructor, and actually go through the observation with them, discuss the results, let them know what the results mean. Again, this is not a grade for the teacher. I don't want this to cause anxiety for the teacher. I want this to be something where, the observer and the teacher are able to, interact and just sort of explain, oh, I saw this, I didn't see this, have you considered trying this, things like that, okay? And then you are going to turn in your completed observation form to mcael.observations@gmail. This is the email address that I have been using to contact you throughout the project. Please send your observation forms as soon as you can. Those observation forms are going to provide us the data that we need for the data analysis later, okay? Again, don't be judgmental. Our role is to help, not to criticize. And then make sure, observers, that you are turning in your invoice to kjohnson@mcael.org at the end of the project, okay? This is how you get paid. Very important. Make sure you get paid. All right. If you have any questions about this slide, you can go ahead and type them into chat or type them into email. I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. This is really important, guys. If you do have questions that come up later, make sure you email me. I want to make sure you're not left with questions that go unanswered. That's something I really want to avoid, okay? All right. So, responsibilities of the instructor. Welcome the observer to your class, okay? I don't, I know you've already agreed to do this because you're having the observers come. But when they actually come to class, welcome them. Make sure they know, take some time to introduce yourself. All right? Prepare the students for the observer's presence. Before you have an observer come to class, explain to the students who this strange person is that's coming into class and watching what they're doing and watching what you're doing and taking notes on this paper. Let them know, okay? So that's gonna, again, help the students stay calm in the class and give us more of that authentic data, okay? Give class as you normally would. Don't do anything special or fancy that you wouldn't normally do just because you have an observer there. Our students are learning, okay? Your students are learning. So whatever you're doing in your class, chances are you're doing something right. And that's something that our observers are going to be looking for, okay? Throughout the observation, they're really going to be looking for things that you're doing right, things that you're doing well. We have a whole page just dedicated for them, a whole third page dedicated for our observers to jot down anything that they thought you did really well at. So they're really going to be looking for things that you did well. So give class as you normally would, okay? Give class as you normally would. At the end of the class, you are going to have that opportunity to sit down and talk with the observer. I strongly recommend ending your class 15 minutes early if that is possible, so that you can have that time to discuss the observation with the observer, okay? And again, this is at your discretion, but it's strongly encouraged. Please, please, please try to, leave time to talk with the observer, okay? Finally, remember, I cannot say this enough, these observations are meant to help, okay? So don't let it stress you out, all right? And after the observation, and after you have spoken with the observer, you have a chance to review the observer. So in addition to the observer, filling out the form to see what's going on in your classroom, we want you to have an opportunity to say, hey, how'd this observer do? So you're going to go ahead, you're going to review the observer. They have an evaluation form. Observers, bring this form with you. I have sent it to you with instructions. Bring this form with you so that the teachers can complete it. Teachers, if you want a copy of this form, just go ahead and send me an email and I'll send you a copy, okay? And this form is going to be sent back to me, okay? And if you have any questions about it, please let me know, all right? And again, any questions, you can go ahead and put them into the chat, or you can email them to me as well. All right, so responsibilities of the administrator. If anyone ever wonders, what our day looks like, this summarizes it pretty well. We want you to coordinate with the observation coordinator, that's me, to determine the observation schedule, okay? Administrators, most of you have already done this, okay? We have been in communication for a while to figure out the schedule that works best for you. And so I have most of your program information already. I would like you to designate the classes and instructors for observations. Some of your programs have observations scheduled for all of your classes, but most of you do not have observations scheduled for every single class. So make sure after you get that schedule from me that says when observers are going to physically be at your location, you then decide, okay, I want this class observed. The way you decide this, I recommend just talking to your teachers to see how they feel. All right? Absolutely. To answer your question, Joseph, there will only be one observer in the classroom. And Edith, absolutely just send me an email after the orientation is complete, and I will send you a copy of anything that you need. All right. Okay, so Betsy, that's a really good question. The principal concern that I would have, and this really depends on sites, is that some sites do not allow us to stay after. So that really depends on your site and what the rules are. If you have the ability to stay 15 minutes after class and both you and the observer agree to those 15 extra minutes, that's fine. But you need to negotiate that with the observer so that we can have those 15 minutes, so that they're aware that it's going to be 15 minutes. Because right now their schedule, what they are assigned, has only the class times that your administrators provided to me. So if you're going to have the observer stay after, you just need to make sure that you talk to them about that. And if you want, I can help coordinate that conversation or mediate that conversation as needed. So just let me know if you have a problem with that, Betsy, and we'll work it out. Just send me an email, okay? All right. So we also want you to make sure that your observer has access and directions to the assigned class. All of the observers have the address of your classes. They know where they need to physically go. Once they get there, it is your responsibility to ensure that the observer is able to enter the building and that they know which classroom they need to go to once they get in there. Whether this is just a matter of, making sure that the teacher, meets them at the door and says, hey, this is my classroom, or actually letting them in yourself, that's up to you. However it makes sense for your program is fine, okay? But just make sure that they're actually able to enter the building and get to the classroom, okay? I really want to stress this one as well, and this kind of goes along with that theme of, we don't want this to cause stress for the teachers and we don't want this to be an issue of judgment or grading. These observations are not a means of evaluating teacher performance, okay? That is absolutely 100% not what they are. These observations are meant to provide data for us, all right? So, okay, Megan, I just saw your question about whether or not the teachers have been notified about the observations. They should have been. They should have been notified by their administrator about the observations. They will know that you are going to observe them before you come into the classroom. We have a number of teachers who are actually present in this orientation. So your presence there will not be a surprise to them. It should not be a surprise to them. And this, they'll know you're coming. They'll know you're coming. All right. So again, do not use observations as a means of evaluating teacher performance. Instead, I want to make sure that you are using these observations really as just a way of knowing where your teachers are at in terms of professional development, and that's where we're going to be going with it as well. All right? And do use the observation results to guide support for instructors. So you are going to have an opportunity to, all right. All right, so yeah, we can talk about the schedules in a little bit. There have been administrators, there have been a couple of changes which you will be notified of in terms of schedules. There were a couple of times that didn't work for the observers, and in cases like that, some observers may have changed. I will notify you of that ahead of time, and then I actually may be going in at 9 a.m. tomorrow to do an observation at Catholic Charities. So yeah, it'll either be me or one of the observers, and you'll always have that information ahead of time, administrators, in terms of if there are any changes. So just be aware. All right? Okay. And finally, we're going to use these observations to guide support for instructors. That's all they're for in terms of the administrators. Okay? All right. All right. And let's go ahead and take a look at the observation forms. And before we get started with that, I'm seeing a couple of conversations and questions going on in terms of who will be where and when. Go ahead and send me an email. Any questions you have about who your observer is going to be, your administrator should have the name. But if you are not sure about that, if you don't have that information on hand, you can just go ahead and ask me. You can just email me and I'll let you know who your observer is going to be. Again, there have been a couple of last minute changes that have gone on just in terms of availability, which is 100% to be expected. Okay, that comes with the territory of working in adult education. We all have schedules. So yeah, so there have been a couple of changes. So it will be, your observation dates will remain the same. Chances are if one of the observers is not able to make it, you'll just get to have me come observe your class, which will be super fun for me. I'm kind of excited about it. So, all right. Top of your observation form. This is the first part of the observation form. It is going to ask just the very basic general questions about the class. The location, teacher name, teacher email address, class level, date of observation, observer name, observer email address, and number of students enrolled. So let's talk a little bit about each of these. So class location, teacher name, teacher, that's easy. Class level though. Some of our classes that you will be observing will be mixed level, and it really just depends on the program. Every program is different. If you are observing a mixed level course, okay, a mixed level class, for the level, you can just go ahead and write in the just mixed, or you can write in mixed beginning and intermediate, mixed intermediate and advanced. If there is no official level designated by the program, you can ask the teacher, what they would consider this level as well, okay? Date of the observation, that's easy. Observer name, observer email address, easy. Number of students enrolled. How many students are typically in this class? If there is a program that does not have any form of enrollment, you can go ahead, either administrator or teacher, send me an email and we'll work out how we're going to handle just the question of how many students are in the class. Okay? All right. Again, please feel free to send any questions through chat or email. I can always come back if you have a question later during the Q&A. Okay? So the next part of the observation form. This is where we have those 2 yes or no questions. These are the only questions which you should be answering with a simple yes or no. Did the lesson start on time? If the lesson is scheduled to start at 9:30, did it start at 9:30? And were the students on time? This one you can say 10 yes, 5 no, or something like that. If all of the students were on time, you can do, a little happy dance because that's awesome. And you can just put yes, all on time or something like that, okay? And then we're going to ask how many students attended the class. This one's super easy. Just count how many students are in class. I'm not going to take too much time with that one. And finally, what were the objectives and how were the lesson objectives displayed? So objectives are the things that your teacher is hoping to, that we're hoping the students will be able to do by the end of the lesson, okay? So you can just go ahead and write down the lesson objectives were fill out a form. The lesson objectives were report an emergency to 911, okay? The lesson objective was, interpret Elise, okay? Anything that you're doing in the class, what your goals are, you're going to want to make sure that you have those listed. How are the objectives displayed? If they were displayed, if the teacher has them displayed somewhere, let us know how. If the teacher didn't have them displayed somewhere, okay, just let us know, okay? So again, this observation form is really just to, observe what is naturally there, okay? All right. So the second page of the observation form. How did the teachers present the information and what techniques were used to help the students understand? So as we're going through a lesson, we really want to make sure that the information that that is being presented, and then we want to understand the way that the teacher is presenting this information. Are they just speaking? Are they using the book? Are they using, pamphlets? Are they using PowerPoint? How are they using the whiteboard? How are they using games in the classroom? How are, anything you can think of. It depends on the class, but really anything you can think of, just go ahead and let me know, and we'll put that information, and just put that information in there so that we know how the teacher is, what type of resources the teacher is using and how the teacher is portraying information to the class. Were teacher directions clear? Magic word, explain. This is a yes or no question. Explain makes it not a yes or no question, okay? So go ahead and tell us, were the teacher directions clear? Yes, they were very clear. The students, understood what was going on. Great. Explain, okay? Tell us those details. That's the heart of it. Were students provided with ample time to practice? What type of practice was employed, okay? So if the students did a worksheet, tell me about the worksheet. If the students did group work, tell me about the group work. If the students did some sort of skit or play, tell me about it, okay? I want to know details on here. Describe the application activity as applicable. If that particular class had an application activity, fantastic. Go ahead and tell me about it. If you feel the class did not really have an application activity, also tell me about that, okay? And what type of feedback was used in the class, okay? Was there, in every class, there's going to be some sort of feedback that's being used. So I want you to provide examples of that, all right? Again, please, at any point, feel free to stop me and ask questions through the chat if you're not sure about what any of these things mean. And again, if at some point you see that you are unsure of the meanings of one of the words in here, you can also let me know of that too. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next portion here. We're all for language skills integrated and how. All right. We have speaking, listening, reading, and writing that we want to be targeting in our classes. So just tell me about which of those 4 skills were integrated and how were they integrated into the class. Also, describe any non-textbook supplemental activities in Realia that was used in the class, okay? So, if your class has a textbook and you're also bringing in a game, for example, or if the class has a textbook, but you're also bringing in you're also bringing in, for example, if you're teaching a class about banking, you might bring in a bank statement or something like that. Sample bank statement, of course. So just kind of let us know, what type of Realia was used and how it was integrated into the classroom and how these materials helped build the class, okay? Also describe the grouping throughout the class. This can be whole group, small group, or individual work where the grouping's balanced and appropriate, okay? So some of the grouping again, throughout a class, you're probably going to have multiple groupings, okay? You might have the whole group working together on one project. You might have some individual practice, and then you might have some small group practice. So I want to know, throughout the lesson, what type of groupings were used, and also whether you found that these groupings were balanced and appropriate in your professional experience, okay? So this is just, kind of a general overview of this, but I really, you see that there's a little bit of space here. Feel free, if you're typing this up, to go ahead and just sort of expand it if you want to type more, okay? It's really fine. The more you give me, the better. All right, so the next portion that we have is asking a little bit about the learning styles that were addressed in the class. So did the lesson appeal to a variety of learning styles, or was it really only good if you were a visual learner, or only good if you were a kinesthetic learner, okay? So, kind of give us information about what learning styles it would have appealed to. And then again, tell me how. This lesson would be really great for visual learners because there were a lot of images that were incorporated. Fantastic. This lesson was fantastic for kinesthetic learners. They got to go up, they got to, act things out. They got to, really have that experience. Fantastic. Tell me about it, okay? How much time did the teacher spend talking? What about the students? We are aiming for a teacher talk time of 80-20. That means 80% student talk time, 20% teacher talk time, okay? 80-20, 80% students are talking, 20% teachers are talking. This is something that a lot of teachers struggle with. This is something that I struggle with. This is something that basically every teacher that I have ever met struggles with, okay? It's a lot that's a lot. That's a pretty, impressive goal that we have of an 80-20 teacher and student talk time. So, make a note of that. And teachers, don't be intimidated, if you're speaking more than 20% of the time, you are in the majority, so don't let that scare you, okay? There's definitely some classes I've given where I'm talking more than 20% of the time. It's just part of, it's one of the things that we all struggle with, but that is the goal that we should be reaching for. This is the most important one for me. Was the teacher warm and friendly? Did the students seem comfortable? Explain, okay? I think this is probably one that a lot of our teachers are going to do really well with anyway, but I think it's one of the most important things. If our students don't feel comfortable in our class, it's going to be harder for them to learn, okay? So, this is, absolutely explain. This teacher was fantastic. It was so clear that she was passionate about helping her students. It was so clear that her students were grateful for her taking the time. Fantastic. Perfect. Explain, okay? this is, I think, one of the best opportunities to really, show how great our teachers are doing, because our teachers, for the most part, are going to have their hearts really in the right place, and that's with the students. So we want to talk about the environment of the classroom and the seating arrangement. Was it conducive to learning? Did the students seem engaged and interested? One thing you want to keep in mind here, some of our programs will be using spaces that they do not necessarily own, so they do not have control over. So just kind of keep that in mind as we're going through, as you're going through the observation, that may not be something the teacher has 100% control over. The next thing, was there evidence of a healthy classroom community? Provide examples, okay? Healthy classroom community is going to mean a lot of different things, but the most important thing is that it's providing a supportive group that the student feels that they are part of, and also that, it helps keep that retention up. So you're going to see students coming not just because, oh, I'm learning in the class, but also because, if you don't show up, you might have a friend texting you, hey, why weren't you in class today? All right. And describe the evaluation component of the lesson as applicable. Here, how whatever evaluation was done in the class, be it formal or informal. All right. I see your question, Marcia, and I'll get there in just a sec. So whatever evaluation component of the lesson was included, you can go ahead and include that information about that here as well. This can be, again, formal or informal as well. All right, Marcia, in terms of your question, are the observers teachers as well? They are teachers and or administrators, and they are all experienced in adult education in Montgomery County. And this is not the first year that observations have been done. Observations have been done in the past, and yes, the observer will provide feedback on the same day that he or she has observed the class. Okay, so that's where that 15 minutes after class could really come in handy, because they're actually going to talk to you about the lesson right there in person. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Let me know if it didn't. All right, so at the end of the observation form, you have a little section here to give just a few more details to describe the experience level of the teacher. Now, I want to make it clear, if a lot of our teachers are not experienced, and that is okay, all right? That's fine. Just, make sure you make a comment here. This teacher, whether they have a master's degree in TESOL or whether they have been teaching TESOL for a month and just want to help the students, either way, fantastic. Just let us know. Go ahead and describe the educational background of the teacher. This is something you can talk to the teacher about, obviously, to fill out. And let us know approximately how many MCAEL trainings the teacher has attended. I don't expect you to be able, teachers, I don't expect you to be able to give us an exact number. I have attended 15 MCAEL trainings. No, that's probably not, you're probably not going to be able to give us that exact of a number. But, just kind of give us approximately how many you think you've attended. And then any other professional development that you have pursued, whether it's been trainings online, whether it's been, going to TESOL, anything like that, just go ahead and let us know what type of professional development you have pursued to help yourself continue to grow outside of MCAEL. And this is the one that I am hoping to see a lot of really cool things from. Please provide any additional notes. This could be examples of activities you particularly enjoyed, instances in which you thought the teacher did something great, times when you thought the student really got it, etc. So when you have a form like this, it can be, a little cut and dry, but I don't want things to be too cut and dry. I also want there to be, a lot of room to just say, hey, these were the things that I saw in the form. And then afterward, here's all the things that I really also want to tell you. And I think this is a really good place to put down things where the teacher absolutely shined in the classroom, okay? So I would love to see some cool notes here. I'm excited about it because as a teacher, I always love seeing cool ideas that other teachers are doing. So this will be a really cool opportunity to see that as well. All right. So a few final remarks that I want you to keep in mind, and then we'll go ahead and get started on our Q&A. The first one is that many of our instructors have limited or no training in TESOL, and that's fine. Just something to keep in mind. Don't go in expecting a master teacher necessarily. You may very well get one, okay? Don't go in expecting, anything negative necessarily, but absolutely just go in and expect to see a teacher who really cares about their students. All of our instructors have their hearts in the right place. I love this little image down here. Teaching is a work of heart. I think that's adorable. All right. Yeah, we all have the student's best interests at heart, okay? That's why we're doing this. And we really want to know what our instructors are doing right. Remember, these observations are meant to be constructive, okay? So, once all of these observations have been turned in, I'm going to have all of that data, and again, that data is going to be presented to you in a number of ways. Administrators, there's going to be an end of the year meeting in which you're going to have access to a lot of that data. It's also going to guide our professional development, and it's going to give us an opportunity to help our instructors as well as our students continue to reach their goals in our adult education world. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up for Q&A. You guys have been doing a really great job of asking questions throughout the webinar, but go ahead, any additional questions that have come up, you can go ahead and ask me. I did see one question that came in from Megan. Megan, to answer your question, since the teachers that are going to be observed is at the discretion of the administrators, some of the administrators have sent me the names of the teachers, some of the administrators have not. So when I get the names of your teachers, I will go ahead and let you know, hopefully before the observation. Administrators, if you haven't let me know the names of your teachers, you can go ahead and send me an email that has the names of your teachers included in there so that we can let the observers know. I would also love it if they could exchange information beforehand. Again, this is kind of, depending on people getting me that information. So you can go ahead and send me an email with that information, administrators, whenever you can. And observers, I will put you in contact as soon as possible with your teachers. So as I'm waiting for questions, I'll just kind of talk a little bit more. We are doing the observations through the month of October, and they're going to go a little bit into November. I just got a request from an additional program, actually, like maybe 10 minutes before I started the webinar. But yeah, I got a request from another one to do a few more observations into the month of November. So we'll be doing a few in early November, but none after that, because I need time to make sure I can go through all of that data, because that's going to be a lot. It's going to be kind of intensive too, to be doing. All right. So go ahead whenever you feel ready. You can write a question in that chat if you have any. Okay, it's going to look like the matrix meets inception again, really quickly, because I'm going to pull the webcam up. All right, let me go ahead and get that up here, and I'll just pull it up here. Okay, so, all right, I see a couple of questions coming in. Perfect. So, Tatiana, yes, to answer your question, I will be sending the additional observation dates. Again, they just came in about 10 minutes before the webinar. So, yes, I will be letting you know the additional dates that are available. All right, let me go ahead and see, we got a couple of things coming in all at the same time so I can see where the lag is at. All right, so, okay. All right. Okay, so, all right, Gabriela, let me see. Okay, so the observations really are occurring, I'm going to read your question out loud since it's a little bit higher up. Let me first thank you for taking time with us on your Friday to do the presentation. Let me thank you for taking time on your Friday to watch a YouTube webinar. All right, and the observations will be occurring according to the schedules of the programs, okay? So I'm seeing a weird blue, let me see if I can fix that really quick, hang on. All right. Okay, so we're going to be doing the observations according to the schedules of the program and the schedules of the observers. So, you know, since we have a lot of observers who are kind of closer to the Silver Spring, DC area, but the majority of our programs are in the Gaithersburg area, it's really, you know, we're just trying to honor the time of the observers, and we're trying to honor the schedule of the observers. That's quite a haul for some of them. So, you know, just keep that in mind. The observations are going to be occurring. Just there's no like set. We're going to have observations every 5 days. No, it's really just a matter of matching availability of the programs to availability of availability of the people who are going to be observing. All right. Next question comes from Sherry. If teachers have handouts for learners, should they also provide a copy of handouts for the observers as well? Teachers, yes. If you can, that would be fantastic. You know, just one extra copy. I know they're expensive these days, but yeah, absolutely. If you can provide an extra copy of the handout for the observer, that's great. You know, and if they want to pass it on to me, that would also be fantastic, because I'd love to see what you guys are doing. I'm actually really excited to do some observations myself too and see, you know, how people are doing. All right, we'll see what kind of things are going on in the classroom. All right, so are observers fluent in Spanish, French, Chinese, etc.? Some of them, not all of them. It depends on the person. All right, is the purpose of the observations for funding purposes? It's not so much for funding purposes. It's more or less to help us target professional development to the needs of our instructors. So it's really, think of it as like a needs assessment, like you might do with your students at the beginning of a class. Say, okay, what do you already know? What do you need to know? That's basically what we're doing. We're seeing, okay, our teachers are really good at this. Maybe they could use some extra practice with this, so let's give a professional development on this topic. All right. Okay, Friday nights. Oh, Fridays. Okay, so Marcia's question, do you plan to offer other webinars, and can they be scheduled for another evening, not Friday nights? This is the only webinar I'm planning. If I'm really only, I only have, you know, any answers about this particular program that we're doing, the observation program, not Friday nights. The reason we chose Friday nights, I'm sorry, Friday is my least favorite night to have meetings too, but it's always when we end up having them, because we have classes usually Monday through Thursday evenings, and then on weekends not everyone is able to make it, you know, due to traveling, due to, you know, so many other things that could be going on. So Fridays just ends up being the night. In the future, I would love to see things done on another night too. I feel your pain, but yeah, that would be great, but we'll have to see. All right, if observers don't record any weaknesses or ways a teacher might improve, how will you know how to guide professional development? That's why this is so, that's why we're having, you know, such kind of like a large program and such a vast program. First of all, I think there's, you know, no one's perfect. If an observer were to come into my classroom, I guarantee they would be able to mark down a whole bunch of things that I need to improve on. It's just, you know, it's the reality of teaching. We're constantly learning. So, I don't really want to think of them in terms of weaknesses. I want to think of them in terms of just areas for improvement, and I do think that they probably will. But that's why we're doing so many observations. We are doing, you know, we have a pretty large sample size this year, about as large as it was last year, and we were able last year to kind of look at that data and you know, let that guide professional development. So I'm hoping that this year we will be able to, you know, identify some key areas as well. Yeah. Okay. All right, so yes, they are definitely going to be recording weaknesses. We're just not thinking of them in terms of weaknesses. We're thinking of them. I hope I understood your question, Betsy. We're not thinking of them in terms of weaknesses. We're just thinking of them in terms of areas for improvement. I'm going to say again, because we have more people here now than we did in the beginning. Make sure you go ahead, click that link in the About section of the video so that you can log your attendance to this webinar. And that's about it on my end. Are there any other questions? Not seeing any in the inbox either. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you all so, so much for taking some time. All right. Thank you guys all so much. Please, as always, any questions, feel free to email me. All right. All right. Hi, Alex. All right. All right, so Marcia, if you cannot see the link, you just need to go down below the video and you need to make sure that you're viewing the About section. So it should be right below the video. And if you're still having trouble seeing it here, let me go ahead and put this link. Yes, so go ahead and send me an email because I do not have the email addresses of all of the teachers that came here tonight. I'm really happy to see a lot of you here. So go ahead and send me your email. Go ahead and just send me an email requesting the PowerPoint, requesting a copy of anything that you need, and I'll go ahead and share that with you as well. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link to the check-in, to the sign-in box. And I'm going to paste that here right now. Okay. Oops. Oh, it's not letting me send it in chat. Okay. So if you are not able to see, you can just go ahead and send me an email and I'll send you that sign-in sheet as well. Okay. Here we go, Marcia. I'll send you the sign-in sheet. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much, and you are free to go. Let me know again any questions. I'm always free for emails. Yep. Just let me go ahead. Okay, I just typed my email into the chat for you guys too, for those of you who didn't have it. So yeah, go ahead. But there's a lot of you here, and there's a lot of you asking for things. Honestly, the best way to guarantee that you're going to get it in a timely manner, send me an email first. Go ahead, just send me an email, and I'll make sure that I'm able to reply to your email with a copy of the PowerPoint. Okay. This video recording will also be available on YouTube. I guess I have a channel on YouTube now, but you can just go ahead and take a look at the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see the video afterward. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to stay on here until everyone is logged out, just so that if there are any other questions, I'll be able to answer them. But thank you again for dedicating your Friday night to us. I really appreciate that. Take care, guys. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the feed. Thank you all so much.
You done?